Hello,
Hello,
Gali.
hello. Welcome
Hi,
to another Tuesday.
another Tuesday.
Yeah,
Last
it's
Tuesday
great.
from America, no?
This will no one more. We'll have one more from
No.
America, and then we'll be back together in heaven.
Okay.
Yes.
I'm
So
looking here in heaven.
yeah, I can't wait to be there. Can't wait.
And you
So
come for a
everyone that's
very
on,
short time also.
say again.
You come for a very short time.
Yeah, because after that we have a seminar back in Canada,
Exactly.
which is going to
Yeah,
be amazing.
exactly.
Mariah said, "Heaven is where your wife is." Very accurate.
Brian,
100%.
heaven is where I am.
Yeah, it's a competition.
But I like the way you think.
Exactly. All right. So if you're on, first of all, say hello. Let us know that you can see us and hear us okay. And of course, feel free as much as possible to interact throughout because today's topic is one that I think many people at first will push back against, but because it's very counterintuitive, but it's actually life changing. And there's a sort of a viewpoint in society that people have, and we'll talk about what that viewpoint is, but in general, it makes people very small, very weak, and generally destroys their potential to expand, potential to make money, and potential to live. And that's the topic. And we can jump right in, but tell me what you think, or if there's any questions that you want to set up. Are you with me?
Gali?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Now I can hear you. Okay, I lost you for a second.
Oh, okay, good, good. So I was just basically saying that we can dive into what this whole topic is and the viewpoint, but unless you want to say something first.
No, go for it. I'm not even sure exactly what you want to ask me or anything. I know the general topic,
Yeah, you don't know my line of questioning.
but I have no
Yeah,
idea what you're going to give me. But let's say hi to everyone. Hi, Harold,
yeah.
and hi,
Hi,
Mariah,
Harold.
and Facebook user. Who is that? Hello, sounded
Hello, sound is good. Well, that's good. At least we know that.
yes.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay,
Thank
so let's dive in. The topic is this. There's a general viewpoint in society that you have a body, and of course, you don't want anything to happen to your body. Like people will protect their body because it's important for them to live, and they feel that if their body dies, they die. And so they get scared to do certain things, or they get scared for their children to do certain things because their children need to be aware. And the general result is that people have this idea that they need to be careful. And that's this viewpoint that people have. But I know that your premise is don't be careful.
you. Yeah.
And that's what I want to talk about and to explain that. And I have a bunch of reasons why, but let's just start with that.
So when you are careful, you have a hidden decision that says something bad going to happen.
Hmm.
Since anything
True.
that ever happened to you is because you decided that it will happen to you, what you basically say is, please hurt me.
Yeah,
This
I
is
can see
really
that.
what it is. And you will see that the more careful you become, you might not get hurt physically, but the worse you get.
Hmm.
Because if you really, 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 really worried about your body, it's like if someone worried about his car, the best thing is never to drive his car. Put it in a
Yeah.
museum and protect it and be really, really careful and don't use the car. The same thing with the body. If you worry about your body, put it in a museum and don't use the body. But that's not
Hmm.
life.
Right.
That's trying not to die. That's different than living.
Yes. Yes.
So the more the more careful you are, of course, you bring the problems on yourself, and you will see that the truth is that nothing will happen to you if you will be bold and full with yourself and totally confident and totally certain. You can say that accidents are the result of uncertainty,
Hmm.
danger. Accidents are the result of uncertainty, not danger. Danger is what the people that become uncertain, the useless people, look and they say, oh, it's dangerous, it's dangerous, it's dangerous, and they become useless. But successful
Yeah.
people are not afraid. Successful people are certain, and you're successful because you're certain. And when you're certain, there's not even possibility of fear, because whatever will happen will happen. I will deal with it.
Right.
I
Right.
can deal with that.
Yeah. 100%. That makes sense. But what sort of got me onto this line of thinking was something that happened a couple of months ago. And this guy said to me, but look, once there are children involved, when you have a child, like maybe you're young and you can go and don't be careful and live your life. But when you're with children, then you need to be careful because now you have the responsibility of your children. Don't go doing extreme sports and driving motorcycles and jumping off cliffs and doing crazy things because you have a responsibility now.
Okay. So you have children now, and you think that you are responsible, and now you're going to make yourself weaker and weaker and smaller, and that's how you will protect your children, by becoming useless.
I mean, that their response would have been no. My What I'm doing is I'm not going to put danger because if I die, I'm going to leave my wife without a man. I'm going to leave my kids without a father.
And
It's going to be a terrible
so,
situation.
what's the percentage of people that die from extreme sport versus percentage of people that die from car accidents? So let's not take car accident, not drive the cars. Let's say go back to the insanity of Corona, because you might get something. And what's the
Hmm.
whole thing about Corona was someone decided that it's dangerous, and the whole universe stopped.
Yeah.
Insanity.
Yeah. True.
It's insanity.
Mhm.
The more afraid you are, the worse you will get. Now, why? Why? Because fear is a state of imperception. You don't perceive when you're afraid. So
Mhm.
obviously, what you're afraid of do not exist because you cannot see.
Okay, let's explain that for somebody that's hearing that for the first time. Fear is a state of imperception.
Yeah, when you're afraid, when someone do bah, and you're afraid, you are like, whoa, you don't want to
Uh,
look at that.
yeah,
Yes, you don't actually,
yeah,
you're not confronting what's happened. That's why you're afraid. So
yeah.
fear is just an effort to prevent communication. So if you are afraid of something, but you're not in communication with the something do not exist. You're afraid of, you don't know what you're afraid of.
Right. You're not actually looking at
You
it.
don't.
You're not looking at anything.
When a person is afraid of cockroach, he doesn't look at the cockroach. He looks at the pictures that the cockroach they turn on in his mind, and he has a whole horror show in his mind, and he's afraid of
Mhm.
cockroaches. But the cockroach can do nothing to you. There's nothing to be afraid of.
Right. Right.
It's
100%.
nothing to be afraid of a cockroach. I mean, seriously, it's like small thing, and very
Yeah. Yeah.
squashable.
Yes.
People afraid of a cockroach. They're not afraid
Yeah.
of the cockroach. They're afraid of the what the cockroach represent in their mind. And what happened is that
Hmm.
they don't actually look at the cockroach. If you will look at the cockroach, you will stop being afraid of a cockroach, because it's ridiculous.
Yeah. 100%. 100%. And I hate cockroaches with a passion. So, but you're right. It's so true. It's really true. And the older you get, the more you're willing to like, all right, go and just handle it. But for sure, especially, I mean, probably to this day, but I've gotten better. I used to hate cockroaches. It's a great example. And then when you look at it and actually just go and kill the thing, you get over it.
Yeah, and just don't kill it, or don't kill it, or whatever. It's like, but just look at it and you will see that it will not, he will not come, because if you will actually confront it, it will not be a problem. The only thing that can hurt you is those things that you're unwilling to communicate with. What is fear? Unwillingness to communicate with.
Yes.
So the only thing that hurts you is this thing that you're unwilling to communicate with. If you're unwilling to communicate with your uh, credit card situation, it will hurt you. If you're unwilling to communicate with the tax requirement, it will hurt you. If you're
Mhm.
unwilling to communicate with your client, it will hurt you. If you're
Yes.
unwilling to communicate with your wife, you're smart.
You're right.
Right, right.
Yes, of course. But so okay now, but just go. First of all, that to me, I agree, right? But somebody listening will say, look, let's just say that the guy was an extreme sports free diver, okay, and there are deaths in that field, okay, and we got to talking about cave diving and this guy who they on purpose go in underwater in tiny caves that you need to squeeze your body through, and once you get out then you go to the other side, and like that's an extreme sport underwater.
Mhm.
Now the person got stuck because of some issue and died, and
Okay.
it's like terrible, like they had kids, it's like horrible.
Yeah, people die, and percentage wise, I didn't check it specifically, but I am sure that if you take all the people that are doing those kind of diving, and in percentage to society, you'll see that percentage wise, there's no more deaths because from extreme sports.
Hmm. Yeah.
The only time that those people are actually getting to die is when someone convinces them that it's dangerous.
Mm.
It's really
So
that before someone convinces you that it's dangerous, it's not.
yeah, there's literally no danger unless somebody said to you that there's a danger. For you, there's just no danger.
Yes, someone have to really convince you that it's dangerous. As
Hmm.
a child, you don't think that something is dangerous. You put children alone, and they play and they do the most amazing thing, and nothing happen until an adult come and warn them and tell them to be careful.
Yeah, yeah, 100%, 100%. So somebody said here, I think about cockroaches. It's not a fear; they can't harm you. It's just unhygienic, and the roach can poop and cause asthma, and they breed worse than rabbits, and they get into everything, and they need to be kept from infesting spaces, especially with food safety. Yeah, I mean,
But,
I don't
but you're
think that's you're not afraid.
not afraid. It's not a
Yeah,
problem. It can be damaging, blah blah blah. But I'm not afraid. I'm handling them.
yeah,
I'm not running
exactly.
away from them. I don't look at a cockroach and go, "Ah, my God, blah, 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 run, blah blah blah," and call my wife. Do that, yes,
100%. Yeah, of
or my
course.
child, to
What's
handle,
that?
or call my child to handle it. It's not. It's not. The problem is that if you will actually confront it, you will know what's the problem. You know how to handle it, and you handle it.
Right, exactly, exactly. So, okay, so back to that. So you're saying that a person that has children should continue to do their diving, their skydiving, their ride their motorcycles, put themselves in the line of danger.
No, they're not putting themselves in the line of danger. They're putting themselves in the line of life
Hmm. Okay.
because they will die in different ways. So let's say they will stop doing what they love, and now they will be miserable, and they will raise children, and those children will be miserable. And it's better that they will not have a dad. If
Mm-hmm.
dad is miserable, and they die, he will die not from diving. He will die from cancer, or he will die because he's not actually living anymore.
Hmm.
Most people die at the age of more or less 20, 22. Most people on this planet die at the age of 20, 22, maybe 23. They get buried at the age of 70, 80,
Right.
but they're
Yeah.
actually dead. So,
Right.
what is the story? Are you trying to live and teach your children how to live, or are you trying to be careful?
I love
If
it.
you don't use your body, if you don't put your body in the line of fire at least a few times per day, you're not living.
Hmm. Yeah. I
Life
and
needs to be exciting. Life needs to be wow, not oh Netflix,
yeah.
secondhand experience.
Mm-hmm. 100. And Mariah said, "In the line of life." I love that, which is it's amazing. I love it too. And so, with that in mind, then you have the thing of in that same conversation. Then we said, okay, what if there's a river full of dangerous hippopotamus? Are you gonna go and jump in the river because you want to be dangerous, right? Obviously, the answer is no. But what is your how would
If
you explain
I'm confronting them totally, I will know exactly how to handle them.
that? Hmm.
I will know how to handle them, and they will not be dangerous for me. They will be dangerous for someone that did not confront them, that did not communicate fully, that does not know what's going on. But if you really know what's going on, knowledge bring about control.
Yeah. Yeah. And you see these people that,
Close your eyes, because you cannot get knowledge by closing your eyes. You pray maybe when you close your eyes, but you don't get knowledge.
yeah. Yeah, exactly. And Mariah said it's like the lion guy on Instagram. So you see these people on Instagram like that are they have confronted over time and learned and been with, and now they know lions and they play with lions because they've raised them and they've fully confronted them.
Yeah.
So
Dean,
that's 100%. Huh?
Dean Schneider.
Exactly. Dean Schneider on Instagram. Exactly. And I see people that swim with sharks or people that play with crocodiles, and they've learned to know the animal. So fine. But I'm saying where's
Is it just people that deal with people? It's much more dangerous than animals. Animals are very predictable.
yeah.
Like you think, if you think that animals are unpredictable or Kev is unpredictable, people are much more unpredictable, are much more insane, much more dangerous.
Yeah. Do you mean as in criminals or just people in
Most
general?
people in life they get crazy. Like you drive and a person get crazy and shoot you. And
Hmm.
as society become more careful, more careful, more careful, the more violent they will be, because people don't actually see.
Yeah.
People become insane because they don't because they are not alive.
Right.
So the real danger on the planet is people. It's not animals and caves and diving and extreme sport. Extreme sport is what make people into sane people.
Yes. Agreed. Agreed. So then you have to then learn how to handle people, essentially, is the point here, right? Learn your
Yeah,
fellow man.
people are the danger, because at the end of the day, what someone convinced you that it can be dangerous.
Yeah.
Instead of convincing you, no, go further, higher, bigger, become more professional, more certain, more impressive, more wow. What society tells you is become useless. And the more useless you are, the more we will admire you.
Mm. Yeah.
This is really what society is all about, is
Yeah. People
if you
love
are
taking the victim and making it, wow, look at the victim.
yeah,
So,
looking at people that bring results and making things go right and making the impossible become possible, instead of admiring them, what people says, well, let's help everyone to be very careful. So what do you end up with? An AI that will control your life, because
yeah.
you need to be careful, which means you are useless. So computer will do your job, and then robots will do your job, and then AI will do your job, and then you will not move. You will just sit somewhere connected to a machine and be a battery that power something.
Hmm.
Because you need to be careful. That will be very careful. Nothing will happen to you. Everything will be monitor, and everything will be safe, but you
Yeah.
will be an amoeba, like nothing.
Yeah. Yeah. 100%. Amazing. And so, is there, my question with like the hippos, obviously you can know the animal, but in general, how do you know, or how do you kind of decide if you should do something that is and approach something in a sane way? So for example, let's say I just learned to ride a motorcycle. Okay, I'm not going to at that moment go on a highway because it's really just,
Yeah,
it's
no
not right.
problem. Things on a gradient, yes, okay.
Yeah, so do things step by step.
Yeah, no, but not because you're afraid. It's not from a
Yeah.
fear. It's actually you increasing your ability to confront, you increasing your ability to communicate. So the more you communicate with the motorcycle, the better it is. If you take a motorcycle and you will actually do what you need to do with the motorcycle, a motorcycle cannot hurt you. You can hurt the motorcycle, but it cannot hurt you.
Yes. Yes. Okay, great. And that makes sense. And then the last point, because we want to kind of keep it somewhat short. But the last point with children, of course, I mean, I can see my friends and I can imagine, and I felt it before even taking care of my little brother and sister. There's a feeling of like you want to make sure they're okay. You feel that, hey, be careful, right? And they're playing around the pool, and you're always worried that are they going to fall in? How do you explain to a parent this concept of teach your child not be careful, essentially?
So first of all, a parent need to understand that the self-determinism of a child is much more important than his body.
Hmm.
So if I raise a child that have no self-determinism, which means everything is dangerous, he cannot just decide and do and execute. So you have a body, it's warm, it's breathing, it's eating, it's polluting, but it's not alive, it's dead. So if
Yes.
you want to raise really a vegetable, that's what you do. You have someone that don't have any self-determinism. Now, if you
Yes.
want to raise someone powerful that can handle life, that can handle anything that come his way, he needs to rub elbows with life. He needs to fall into the pool and almost drown. It's totally fine.
Okay, what do you mean? So I just let him stay in there a teeny bit longer? Like,
Sorry? Yeah, just see he fell and it's okay. You find and you help him and you teach him and you get him to and you explain to him and you confront it before and you're not irresponsible, but you teach him, you tell him, look, this is the pool, da 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 da. And that's what you do, and you train him and you show him like we've done with you. With at the age of I don't know 6 7 months, we
yeah.
threw you to the pool and you've learned how to float somehow.
Yes.
You
Yeah,
remember?
true.
Yes. So,
Swimming
so you,
lessons, but controlled environment, people are going to go and just throw their kid into a pool.
yeah, yeah, of
But
course, it's in a controlled environment. That's what I'm saying on a gradient.
yes,
But
of course.
you're not saying, I'm not telling to my child, be careful. I'm telling to my child, yes, of course, learn, do things on a gradient. But one thing for sure, your self determinism is much more important than your body.
Right.
So I will help you with the gradient. I'll teach you blah 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 blah. But I will never tell you, look, don't do that because it's dangerous. No, do it smartly.
Yes, I got you. And then is it the parents' responsibility also to create a safe environment for their children as a basic prerequisite? Like, I'm assuming generally the parents shouldn't, maybe if they're playing on the street by a bunch of moving cars, maybe you don't set up the playground there. You know what I mean? You can put it in the backyard rather. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah, I would not worry about that. I will educate the kid and I will teach him what's going on and not create the environment because how many gates can you put around?
Hmm.
But if I will explain to him and don't think that he's an idiot and from the age of 0, understand that a child is just a spirit, a man, is just a person with a small body.
Yeah. Yeah.
Sometimes you talk to children, and I see you talk to children, and people say "Yumi, yumi, yumi, yumi," like they're talking to the children like imbecile.
Yeah.
And, and I look at the child, and I come to him and I say, "Funny, huh?" The child says, "Yes." Even if he cannot speak,
Yeah.
right? With a baby, go to a baby after his mom or whoever talk to him like he's an imbecile, and tell him, "I know you know." And you'll
Mhm.
see the child will light up.
Yeah. Yeah. Even a baby.
Even a baby, they know.
Yeah.
So don't behave to them because they have a small body, like and they're idiots. No, they have a small body, but they're spirits, and they know, and they have feelings, and they have things that they like and they don't like, and they have very, very, very good intention all the time. Just that the body limit their results, and it's
Right.
totally okay if you explain to them and communicate, etc., etc. Everything will be fine.
Yes. Yeah. Amazing. Amazing. So it's not about creating a safe environment. It's about explaining and communicating to the child, doing things step by step. Of course, when at what point does the parent interfere? Like, let's say the kid's running towards the street, and they're like having fun running towards the street. I mean, you will for sure grab them. So at
Yeah,
what
of
point does that
course.
happen?
But that's too late. It means that for a long time you did not explain. And
Yeah.
if the kid's in a good condition, he will break the car instead of him breaking.
Right. Right. Yeah.
And that's happened to you. You ran into the street, you hit the car broke, you had nothing. Nothing happened to you.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
Right.
so if the kid is in a good condition, nothing will happen to the kid.
Yeah. Yeah. I see. Got you. Okay.
You see
That's amazing.
you'll see also that in when I was young, when I was a baby, a child, there was nothing around protecting us. Like nothing. We've been alone. We were mountain. We will do all kind of crazy, crazy stuff, and everything was okay.
Hmm.
And now everyone is very, 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 very protected. But everyone has ADHD and ADD, and they cannot do this and they cannot do that, and everyone is so sensitive, and they're sensitive to gluten and sensitive to this and sensitive to that. What's this nonsense? I didn't see one person in Israel in all up to I don't know 20 years ago that was sensitive to anything.
Hmm.
People were sensitive to Israelis. That's yes, but not Israelis sensitive to gluten.
Yeah, yeah. Now, what is the question is, I'll often say, look, people now, and usually people agree, people now are more depressed than they were 60 years ago, for example, right? 60 years ago, they were busy surviving, figuring out how to move their
Yeah.
family to America or whatever.
Mhm.
But is it true that there were still people though that were depressed? Maybe we just didn't know about it, or there were people that were sensitive to gluten, but they just weren't getting visibly sick or making a big thing out of it. I mean,
What,
or
what,
dying sooner.
whatever it is, it was not there.
What do you mean?
Like in another 50 years from now, someone will invent another insanity, another gluten B.
Hmm.
And was it here or not? Who cares? People living, people just moving,
Yeah, yeah, I see.
but in the overall thing, you'll see, people live longer, but they don't actually live.
Hmm. Yeah.
People live in a nicer houses, but terrible emotion.
Hmm.
People have much more tools, but terrible relationships.
Yeah.
People have all the knowledge, but zero ethics. It's just the opposite of what you want. So, really, what you walk towards, if you open your eyes, you'll see that you walk towards that an AI control you. Why
Hmm.
will an AI control you? Because you become nothing, because you are useless, you're afraid.
Right. Yeah.
How useless can you be? Afraid.
Yeah. Amazing.
You
That's
want to go towards being useless? Yes, of course. Protect yourself and protect yourself and protect yourself, and just go with condoms over your body, and and you'll be protected. I don't know
yeah.
from what.
Yeah, exactly. I love it. I mean, so what would you, first of all, I have another question, but let's read some of the comments here. So, yeah, Facebook user said 100% agree. Um, and we have, and the Facebook user said, please post a replay. I got there will be a replay 100%. Arjuna said, bubble proof everything. It's the only way. Yes.
Yeah.
Right. And Anita said, I remember a childhood like that too, way more freedom when you were saying that you used to go play in the mountains and you used to do everything, right? We have Raymond here watching from Toronto. Hello, hello. Um, and Mariah and Lior both said LOL. Yes, that was very funny. And now there's a couple of questions. So uh, it says, first of all, Ava says, unfortunately, you can't always protect them from everything, and bubble wrap everything isn't good either because it can instill more fear, which is true.
Yeah.
And William asked, what's the definition of a conclusion and what's the definition of a consideration?
Okay. A conclusion is a decision that you make based on facts, which will always be wrong.
Hmm. Hmm.
The conclusion is something that locks you, and nothing is locked in this universe.
Yeah.
Okay?
Hmm.
And a consideration is something that is used by the entities, or something that is used by a person to justify an inability.
Mm. Great. Great.
So when I have a consideration that I can run only, there was a consideration that people can run a mile only with 4 minutes. It's a consideration, and it was impossible for 2,000 years to break the record. And one day someone broke the record, and a year later, 2,000 people broke the record. Consideration,
Yeah. Yeah.
just a limitation.
Exactly. Amazing. Okay, great. And then my final thing is, in a practical way, how do you now improve that? So, for example, I went on a trip over the weekend, and I can see different people. They're not just in our group, but you just look around at people, and everyone's 25 to 35, and you just see that people want to just sit and do nothing and relax and not be so active. And that's sort of where things go. You see that kids are very alive, the parents sit down and do nothing, right?
Yeah.
You see that some people will be jumping off the cliffs having fun, some people will stay and watch. So, how do you activate somebody and bring some life back into them?
Okay. So first of all, those people that sit and do nothing lost. They have no purpose. They
Hmm.
have no purpose, and because they have no purpose, they don't act, because purpose is actually a doingness.
Hmm.
So when a person is careful, which means every time that you are careful, it's you lost, because careful mean I'm nothing, you are something. I'm weak. So every time you've been careful, you decided that you are failed, and you failed, and you failed, and you failed. And when you failed enough time, you decide that the best thing for everyone is that you do nothing, have no purpose.
Mm.
And when you decide that the best thing for everyone is that you do nothing and have no purpose, you basically say, you will call it, I want to relax, because you don't want to say I'm useless. So no, I want to relax. Relax from what? We've been relaxing in the last 50 years. Relax.
Yeah,
Yeah, relax from what? And
yeah,
and when you ask him, so you relax? Yes, I relax. And then he will tell you, yes, life is boring
yeah, yeah, yeah.
because you're relaxed. And
Right.
so how do you get the person out of it? Is on a gradient scale. You need to find where he is and move him a little bit higher. Just find what's real for him and give him just a very, very small challenge, something that he can overcome, which means that he will not get another failure, but
Hmm.
will prove to him that he is somehow more uh, control over the environment. He is somehow have a little bit of more self-determinism, just a little bit, not too much. The mistake is too much.
Mm.
And you give him a little bit more and a little bit more and a little bit more and a little bit more, and you make sure that he's not on drugs or alcohol, because that's destroy any self-confidence, and it destroy any, although it seems like the person have more self-confidence, he's not. He's totally controlled by entities, and the spirit itself losing everything once you get into drugs and alcohol. And if you make sure that they are not on drugs and alcohol, and you give them a little bit of challenge, they will start to improve. But it's a very delicate process to give them just enough. So you really need to find where it is, match it, and go a little bit higher.
Mm. Amazing. Okay. Because you brought up drugs and alcohol, first of all, drugs. I think it's pretty easy to. We don't even need to get too much into that at the moment. But alcohol, let's say that somebody. I have no problem with somebody having a glass of wine at dinner on occasion or a cocktail or whatever. But some people like to have get home, right? It's a
Sorry.
common. They like to get home and have a beer. It's a common thing. Did you hear me?
Yeah, I heard you, but I don't know it yet.
Okay, yeah, I mean, in many cultures. You get home, maybe I have open get a glass of wine, have a beer, whatever. Is there an issue with having a glass of wine at night after coming home from work?
Yeah,
Why?
because every time you take a glass of wine, you become less you and you restimulate more of your past.
Hmm.
This tipsy feeling is I'm not here and I'm getting into a total automatic. So the little control that the spirit do have over the body goes away. And now it's all, everything is stimulus response. So the person feel like he has less limitations and so on. Yes, he has less limitation because he has zero, but zero self-determinism. It's all controlled by the entities in the body.
Mm. Even if they feel happier, more confident,
They feel happy and more confident, but they are not because they're doing stupid things. Yes, and
but maybe they're not. Maybe they're not doing stupid things. Maybe they're just,
all they're
yeah.
always doing stupid things. If you check, you'll see that they're always doing stupid things, even if it's take them 50 minutes, if 20% longer to do anything, even if it is just sitting down and not producing anything. Uh, from any viewpoint, you'll see that it's actually damaging. They're not doing anything good.
Okay.
So it's not good. I've never seen someone that have it as a habit. I don't mind if someone get a glass of wine or a cocktail in a party or once in a blue moon. It's
Right,
fine.
right.
But if that's the system, if that's every day, I come back from work and I need this to take this drug that will make sure that I will not be in present time. So what
Yeah.
you become slower, less aware, and every time you do that, is it's not that you become less aware at that moment and it goes away. You become less aware, and every time it's a little bit more less aware. You don't feel the deterioration is very small, but you will become less and less and less and less you, and that's really the danger in drugs, because slowly they take you down. Some drugs quickly, but most drugs take you slowly down. It's so slow, so subtle that one day you wake up and you see I'm actually stupid.
Yeah. 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 100%. 100%. Amazing. Amazing. Wow. Okay, great. So I think I had another question on the tip of my tongue, but I think that was amazing, and I think that for anyone listening, that's life changing. And you wanted to put up the link on the screen. Just let's talk quickly about the seminar that's upcoming in Toronto, Canada, which is what I'm coming back for, as we said.
Yes. Yeah. So most people are really cannot confront life. Most people have a lot of losses. Most people are really worried about their body, about their health. They have a lot of health issue. They really cannot. They become weak. The average person by the age of 40 is really weak. They cannot do anything. Like they're really weak, and that's translates to physical weakness, and they're susceptible to become sick. They become sick and they get more and more and more medicines, and most people in America are on some kind of medicine,
Hmm.
more than one, to handle some kind of a condition. And all
Yeah.
of that is happening because they lost the self-determinism.
Right.
And the handling is that you really need to remove these things that create those problems for you right now, that you unwilling to look at the cockroach. Why are you unwilling to look at the cockroach? There is actual pictures that tells you that something is really dangerous, and you really believe that there is really dangerous, something really is dangerous, but there is nothing really dangerous. Yes. So
Yeah.
if you remove all of those fears, if you will remove all of those consideration, if you will remove all the past, all the things that actually stop you, you will be able to actually handle your body. You will learn how your body actually work. And once the body stop becoming a liability, then you will stop being afraid. And once
Yeah.
you stop being afraid, you will be able to start looking and confronting what's in front of you and create something. Because for as long as you are afraid, you are not creating anything, you are preventing. Once you stop being afraid, you start looking, you start communicating, and you can start putting something out there. So the key to understand is that for as long as you are afraid, you do not actually see. You are not in communication. Now,
Yeah.
how can you build a building without seeing the building that you're building?
Yes. Yes.
So this seminar is designed to handle these basic fears that prevents you from having a life. So I've said that few times that most people argue with me and say, well, I don't know if I have past lives. And I said, the problem is not if you have past life. The problem is that you don't have your current life.
Yeah.
That's the actual problem.
Yeah.
The problem is really not past lives. The problem is current life.
Yeah.
And the
People
reason
struggle to live.
Yeah, and the reason I'm looking at past life is in order to fix your current life. There's
Yeah.
no question that there is past life.
Yes.
The question is, why don't you have your current life?
Yeah. And it's
Yeah, and
amazing.
current life is just a past. You don't really have a current life. You have just past. 99.9% of the reality of people is past. They
Yeah.
don't really see what's in front of them.
Right.
So they don't have a current life. They live in the past. And it's not important if past life is yesterday or a lifetime ago. It's still past life.
Interesting. That's amazing. And it's also amazing because you always say, look, if a problem is not getting handled, the current problem you think it is, it's not the right problem. It's always before. So if you have problems in your current life, and most people struggle to live in any way, let alone to succeed, but just to get by is so terrible and hard and tough, and they get knocked down. Let's look at the problem before. It's
Exactly.
really, yeah, amazing. Now, one question about it. First of all, anybody that's watching, you can go to gprosperity.com/past lives, and there's 3 seminars there that are free. It's about 6 hours of content. If you watch those seminars fully and actually watch them, those alone will change your life. And they're just there, sitting there, little nuggets of gold that are just sitting there for free. So go check that out. But I have a few friends that wanted to had weren't sure about coming to the seminar. Now they're coming, but their questions were at first work. I have work, taking off work. It's a problem. I can't get off work. Number one, and number two, it's there's a cost involved.
Yeah.
So, and it can be, is it expensive? Is it not? Those are the two questions. What would you say if somebody that we have plans,
Extremely, it's extremely expensive not to be there, because it will cost you in less production, it will cost you in medical bills, it will cost you in early retirement, unwanted, it will cost you in not closing deals, it will cost you in broken relationship, it will cost you in all areas of life. So it's extremely expensive not to go there.
Mhm.
If you think that you don't have time, obviously you already have a problem in your life because you cannot control your time. So you definitely need to get control over your life.
Yeah.
So from my viewpoint, and any person that actually understand what we are teaching, anyone that really understand how important is the condition of the spirit, there is nothing more important than handling your past lives.
Hmm. Yeah,
Because imagine that you came to this seminar for a week, and after that, you handled your whatever physical condition you had, or you handle whatever problem you had at work, or you handle the problem with income that you had, or with money, or whatever problem you have that you're carrying for a long, 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 long time, it get handled. Just imagine that you do that. Would you say that, oh, will it be logical to say, I'm really poor because I didn't want to invest 1 week. I couldn't invest 1 week to become rich. It will be crazy, yes?
of
I'm
course,
really sick, but I couldn't invest 1 week in fixing myself. It will be really weird. It will be like insane. That's
100%.
really what it is. So people have
Really,
problems, become older, they become weaker, they have less and less time. Every moment that go by, you have less time, and it's really insane to say I don't have time to gain really fixing all my future lives. Never mind just today.
yeah, it's amazing. That's a
So
very
if
exactly.
it for you eternity, and you say no, I don't have time.
Yeah,
It's expensive.
yeah.
That's
Hmm.
how insane it is.
Amazing,
So
amazing. True, and it's so true. And Mariah said those seminars are incredible. I can't believe that they were free. Even talking about the ones on gprosperity.com/past lives. It's true.
it's really powerful. Really,
Very.
really, really powerful.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's really in I think in the first seminar when I was talking about the your way, like
Mhm.
this breakthrough there of knowledge that's I think everyone was looking for
Yeah.
eons. Eons.
Yeah.
I'm talking about secrets that mankind was looking for eons, and I'm not exaggerating. It's really
Yeah.
there.
Yeah. It's there. It's wild that it's just there. It
Yes,
is. It
for
was
free.
a breakthrough for free, for free. I know. But and the amazing thing is if that's the free part, like everybody
Yeah.
that was on the seminars was like, "Oh my god, I need to get to Canada." And that's happening August 9th to the 17th, I believe.
Yes.
So it's going to be wow. It's
Be
going to be
there.
wow. Wow. All right. This was amazing. Thank you very,
Bye-bye.
very much. I love the topic. I love the answers. And thank you
I love
for
you.
everything. Mwah. I love you. And thank you for everyone that was on. Mwah.
Thank you. Thank you for participating, and we'll see
Yes,
you next week.
absolutely.
I love you.
I
Mwah.
love you. Bye, guys.